All right, we're good in about 1 second, and here we are.
So here's the thing, like it's probably a lot of fun, and like I would argue that even though he's not like a great singer,
Mhm.
Fred Durst is like a front man. Like
Yeah.
he's a front man that's done it for so long
Mhm.
that like he's good at it. You know what I mean? Like he's toured in Europe for even when they he's toured in Europe for all this time. And if you watch that Coachella uh
Mhm.
set, which is the one that kind of put him in
Yeah.
everybody's head again. Hunter's on fire. Like he does exactly. He's like he's not on fire. He's doing the angry shtick, but he's like way chilled
Sure.
out. And at one point, Meg the Stallion is on the other stage, and you would think he'd be like, "Yeah, Meg the Stallion is garbage because I'm
Mm.
angry white boy." And instead, he's like, "Hey, Meg the Stallion, you're cool. We're cool. We're Limp
Yeah.
Bizkit." And like, yeah. And then even what's interesting, and I don't know if this is on purpose, they do Nookie, and then they cut Nookie at the end, and they go into the one they did for
Mm.
Mission
Mhm.
Impossible, right? And they just cut Nookie early, and they go, "Yeah, it's probably the one you want." So I don't know if it was a time constraint. He had somebody in his ear telling him it was
Right.
a time constraint, but the control to just change your set list like that is very
Yeah,
impressive.
and that's kind of what I was
But
thinking, like, I mean, I've never seen him live, but I mean, I'm just imagining, like, the energy is probably pretty intense, and especially, like, just, being able to get the crowd up and get up because that's part of it also. I mean, like, I can imagine being, like, an incredible front man that gets the crowd excited.
well, and also because like he's done it for a long time, he is safety oriented, which is super important.
Yeah, yeah,
Because like famously, someone died at a Limp Bizkit show. They got trampled because that happens,
yeah.
and like they like Wes Borland was doing an interview, and he was talking like we are always very aware of how to never make that happen.
Mhm, yeah,
And, like we know, like we don't take like responsibility for it, but like a he says her name, which is really cool, and like really powerful, and
yeah,
like b the fact like yeah you have people on stage who are like yeah I'm gonna rock out, but we are I know and
yeah.
it must be like a weird thing to be like weird art boy, Wes Borland, to have
Uh-huh.
like, just have meatheads be like, "You're Wes Borland, man." He's like, "Yeah, what a trade I made." So yeah,
Well, and it's interesting actually because oh, wait,
you didn't put the clock on.
I
Where's the
totally
clock?
forgot. Okay, there we go.
Oh,
Okay.
I can't see the clock this swing at this time.
Oh, sorry,
Yeah,
okay.
it's okay. I can put it on myself. It's cool.
No,
I
I just turned it on, but I did forget to do it, so we're gonna go a couple minutes over here. Here, I'll just skip ahead here a couple minutes. Here we go. Okay.
okay, okay, cool. What
Okay.
time are you putting it at? 14,
Um,
12,
it's, it's about, 13, so here, I can
15?
get it up for you. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, this is
This
jam.
is
This is a jam
this
podcast.
is an exciting podcast here.
This is a very we just hopped right in. We had a plan because our we're hitting the end of Yonko 2,
Uh-huh.
the artistic part and not going into the work part of it, which, when you make art, you gotta do there's a lot of just making it the artistic part is the fun part, and if you could the trick everyone's always trying to pull is to get to the point where you're just doing the artistic part. And I think, like, 2 people have pulled it off ever.
Yeah.
Uh, there's like a lot. Is that the Sonic look? Okay, it's gonna be fine. But like, so we're heading to the end of Yonko 2. There's a lot of stuff
Yeah.
like just the story of Yonko 2 is finally beginning to solidify for me, which it's good. It's a weird one. Um,
Yeah, and I think it's coming together for me as well, and it's interesting to see, like, the little bits that we've allowed ourselves to sort of, uh breach to each other, you know? It's been interesting to take those little clues and try to interpret them,
yeah.
for myself.
So I have a question I don't want you to answer in any way, shape, or form. Okay.
Okay.
But I just want to know because my answer is different than yours, and that's fine. And we're just gonna,
Mhm.
I'm gonna say it, and I just want you to kind of don't, don't try to make no face when I say
Okay,
it.
okay. Alright.
Uh, how connected is Zodiac 1 to Zodiac 2? Hmm? Yeah,
No
nice.
no
Yeah,
answer? No answer, okay.
no answer, no
So,
answer.
no answer, alright.
Yeah, no answer.
Alright, and that's an answer that we'll come to, uh, basically, we'll talk about it on the podcast when we
Yeah.
finish part 2, right?
Yeah, well, yeah,
Okay.
we'll drop we'll do the one of the things we have to decide is because we have decided that Zodiac is an ongoing series and it's
Yeah.
going to go past Zodiac 1 and Zodiac 2.
Mhm.
I know also, if someone for some reason watches this, you should call it the right thing, Capricorn, Deacon, something. I'm going to call it Zodiac 1, Zodiac 2,
Yeah.
and so forth because I'm a dum dum. Like you should be better about it.
Well, no,
Um
I think we've got the shorthand of Zodiac, but then each one will have their official title, and that's fine, you know?
Well,
Yeah.
also one of the things that I was thinking about this is if people are like, "Oh, why is it called Capricorn Deacon?" Yada yada, and the answer is because we inserted a naming convention and it was interesting to keep.
Mhm.
Like that's something that I actually really love doing artistically. Is instead of being like, "Oh, I need to think of a brilliant name," you sort of
Mhm.
blue period yourself, where you go,
Yeah.
I do this, so it makes that, and that is what the art is."
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it I mean, it wasn't completely random, but it also wasn't completely thought out either.
Mm,
And I think actually a lot of what our project has been is, you know, not exactly thought out, but also not exactly random either.
it's
Um,
not random and it's not meaningless, but I also
yeah.
I would say one of the things I like about the Zodiac series, and maybe even Yonko in general, and
Mhm.
one of the is the fact that I don't know the answers to it. Like I don't
Yeah.
there's lore in my head, there's lore in your
Mhm.
head. It doesn't we sort of talked around it once. We will then in, I guess a month ish talk
Mhm.
about if we what we want to talk about. Oops, sorry, babe. What we want to talk about with the lore. Sorry, the
Yeah.
Pandora is here.
Right. Hey, sweetie. Okay.
Look how CEO of Yonko LLC. Self-described, self-described.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and it's also interesting, timing. We actually didn't plan, you know, to be talking about live performance this morning, but, that was just what we were talking about when we pressed record, um, and there is a, possibility, you know, upcoming that we'll actually be performing Capricorn live,
yeah.
and that's actually kind of interesting because that's not when we started on Capricorn, which, you know, wasn't called Capricorn when
It
we
wasn't
started,
called
but
Capricorn. It wasn't called Yonko. It wasn't anything.
yeah, it wasn't anything when we started,
Mhm,
and it certainly was not, you know, I was not thinking at all of the possibility of there being a live performance,
mhm,
and so it's interesting. I mean, this is a much different kind of live performance than, you know, Limp Bizkit or, you know, or anything that, or any other kind of live show that I've been involved in, you know, because, I'm kinda curious to see how this one turns out and what kind of audience and how they respond to it because, you know, um, y so you know, I've mentioned here, you know, and talked to you about that other group that I'm in that sort of began in a parallel way,
mhm,
which is it's almost the complete opposite of what Yanko is doing, in that, you know, it's the whole point of it is to play popular music, and the whole point of it is to
mhm,
play music that people know, and when we perform, you know, then you know we're trying to bring a certain energy, you know, of live performance and get people involved and that kind of thing to it. And you know, I mean, you know that I come from a classical background, so this performance wise, this is a little bit more in the classical style,
mhm.
but music wise, it's not at all in the classical style. And so it's very interesting kind of combination, you know, for it.
I also one of the things it's been interesting because slowly, very slowly, Yonko has become a little bit bigger than it was, and people are knowing about it.
Right.
And I would like to just point this out real quick, just so we have the groundwork. It turns out I am pretty tight-lipped about Yonko still when people ask me questions. Andrew, we had to do an interview. That in the "We Got Caught" interview. Andrew's like, me and Brandon, we worked together and we did a thing, and I was like, yes, we worked together.
I know, and at some point, actually, we should post the actual text of the interviews that you and I responded to because they're very different.
Yeah,
Well, and honestly, like I, th- it was a little bit weird for me because I wasn't sure. Like, I mean, I
okay.
wanted to give some information, you know, about it. But you know, we talked in the last few episodes about how we're trying to keep this sort of clandestine,
Mhm.
and then I just ended up just sort of. answering and, like, telling and to be honest, like, I thought that you were gonna do something similar, and then
I'm
and
sorry. I thought it's funny because I thought you were gonna double down even more than me. I thought I
really?
was
Okay.
on, but like I almost like it, you were like, and then we met and we were friends, and then
Right?
we did this, and I was like, yeah, my name is Brandon, and this is my social security number. Legally, I don't have to tell you anything else.
Right. I mean, you I think several times you just had one-word answers, like yes or no.
I think I gave myself one, like, legit one was answer was like, "How do you promote this?" And I just said, "Hook or crooking it." And other than
That
that,
was my favorite. That was my favorite.
I thought that was everything's so boring, that one was the one that was gonna get in. How do you
Yeah,
promote it? I don't know, we hook or crook it.
yeah,
And every other answer either was yes, no, please ask Andrew. I was polite and concise, and I had like and you were right because there are no mentions in this article of me. Like, there's no quotes from me. And I can't be mad because I was mean and cagey,
right.
like
Well, and the thing is, like, I think that I might have been a little bit more cagey, like, if it wasn't someone who I work with, because that's where, it kinda came from, and so I wasn't sure, like, okay, if I'm a little bit too cagey or too vague or, whatever, then this is somebody I work with, I need to sort of treat it I don't know, so I might have been a little bit more,
yeah,
uh, I might
I
have held
s
back a little bit more if it wasn't that situation.
I see your point, but I apparently, am always in character a little bit when it comes
Right.
to that. So good girl. You're so good. Thank you for sitting here. But now that we got through that, we have a performance coming up,
Mhm,
which I plan to stand just in the background. That's what I just sort of watching.
mhm.
Um, I'm mad that we're not Yonko 2 is good. I'm glad that's coming out before Yonko 2 drops. I'm a little mad because I kind of there's stuff in Yonko 2 that I want to reference in live performances. I'm pretty sure. Uh,
Mhm.
so um,
Well, and we should also say, like, this is gonna be in, conjunction with, a gallery that you have, I mean, and yeah, and maybe people might not know about that as well, but, you've got this fantastic gallery that's up right now.
yeah, thank you. It was interesting, but it's one of those things you have to work on. You have to remember to work on process, not don't eat the pen. You have to work on process, not on product. Does that make sense? Like,
Mhm.
because like
Yeah.
I really wanted to do this gallery, and I like worked towards it, and then I partially what I think is interesting is Yonko exists because the gallery exists, and
Mm.
for me, it was
Yeah.
this big project that I think it's uh, this is great. I had this big project that I was working towards and was a pain and was hard and something I really focused on, and
Mhm.
then it was done. It was up. You have to let that baby bird fly, you know.
Yeah. Right.
And, and I was like, shoot, now what? Um, and then you were like, hey, I made this poem, and then we had the talk,
Yeah.
and I was like, well, yeah, I guess that's the next project I need to be working on. So like that's part of the reason I was so hip to start on Yonko. And
Interesting, yeah.
someone who answers his emails consistently. Um,
Right.
I mean, God
Well, no
bless.
well, no, honestly, like, I mean, like, because I've started a lot of music projects as well that just they never get any traction, and that's actually, like, I'm not gonna lie, I like the art that we're doing, but I also like the communication that we have as well. So, yeah.
It's funny that as cagey as we are with each other, we're also very like we're prompt but not open. Like
Right. Yeah.
I will give you exactly the amount of information you want and not a bit more. And I think
Right.
being prompt is a artistic skill that I didn't have for years and still screw up sometimes. But boy,
Yeah.
is it a helpful
Yeah.
people will appreciate getting even if you don't like it. People appreciate just getting the thing. Just send them the
Yeah.
thing, man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like it puts you so far. One of my buddies that that is in doing Yonko stuff with us now, or like did a Yonko thing with us.
Yeah. Mhm.
Eddie, very I don't feel bad saying it, very artistically, creative, and like I think I spent like 2 years just being like, dude, just get stuff, just do stuff and get it in on time, and like
Right.
he got just because we had that one conversation once.
Mhm.
Um, he's had so many more opportunities just because, like, if you just
Yeah.
turn the thing in on time, people are so Yonko wouldn't exist if we didn't keep sending emails back and forth, or if we did it like every other month. You know what I mean?
No, absolutely. I mean, like, I mean, part of what makes it, part of what makes it real, is that we're, sending, 2 or 3 images and music files, back, a couple times a week, and it just keeps that energy up. I mean, it keeps the interaction, it keeps it fun, to be honest. And it's not that, I mean, it's for me, it's a good pressure,
Mhm.
because and that's a lot of what I find myself doing, like during my career, is just trying to put deadlines, whether they're self-imposed or from other people, that always helps kind of get things done. So,
Yeah, I do feel like time limits are just like really, really, really important.
and that was very well timed.
Okay, good talking to you. I'll get you the cover tomorrow, and I gotta
Yeah.
get going. I gotta go wrestle.
All right.
Okay.
Have fun wrestling.
My sweet pea, it's so unfair. It's so unfair. I love you. Say goodbye to Andrew. Thank you for being on the podcast. See you, Yonko LLC.
All righty.